Okay, boom. Welcome to our first Fantasy Happy Hour golf episode. Not sure how many of these I'll be on. Maybe produce a little bit more than actually talk about because I don't really know professional golf too well, although I am an avid golfer and I am pretty okay.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, we got the Masters this week. I saw that the Sergio Garcia was out.
Yeah.
COVID-19 positive. He went at what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, I think it's maybe been a few more than that. I'm not great with the history, but
Yeah, won it a few years ago. So that's a big blow to the people who had pools and stuff potentially, unless they're going to let you replace them. Can Tiger Woods repeat though? I think that's the big question.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm just gonna, maybe I'll throw in a few things here and there, but we'll pass it up to Tarin, our resident fantasy sports expert.
Well, one thing to know about the Masters is for DFS specifically and golf in general, the Masters is a very different tournament. It's in like an invite only and it's set early in the year. So you're going to only see 93 players in this field, of which probably a dozen are not going to be valid. They're just ex-winners and invitees that are, some guys are 70, 75. You got Bernhard Langer here. You got Maria Olafalbel. Like guys you know aren't going to make the cut or be anywhere near the leaderboard. Bernhard Langer did make the cut last year. That is one guy. He still plays on the Champions Tour. But the one thing to note here is they've changed the cut to top 50 and ties make the cut and any player within 10 strokes of the lead. So it's a weird cut where there's more to it than just you're in the top 60 or tied. And that's really important to note. This tournament's usually played in April, so they're expecting the conditions to be slightly more wet, and that could lead to driving distance being more important, and specifically driving carry. And then course history is big here because there's a lot of little intricacies in this course that you kind of want to know. And a lot of these guys have played many here, Tiger being probably the one that's played the most here and then had the best performance here. But one thing to note too about this course is that there's a lot of money here at this Augusta National. They have a system underneath all the grass that can actually pull the moisture out. So there is a way for them to actually make this course play a little faster and drier. But if we want to get into picks, my focus is going to be driving distance and guys who carry the ball further, because if it does play wet, this course does play pretty long for the average player. But I mean, in nowadays game, everybody's a bomber. But you got to start with the most expensive guy in the tournament, Bryson DeChambeau, Mr. Buff himself, protein shake man. He's 11,200. He said back when he did his whole basically growth, gaining 40 pounds and swinging at 140 on his little shot tracker, that he did it specifically for Augusta. So he's actually done it, and he's been tweeting about his expected targets for his driver, and he's going to be hitting I think it's number 14's the par 5 with the little island green with the river that runs in front of it. He's planning to hit it through the fairway onto the other fairway that runs perpendicular so that he has like a wedge in to a par 5. Like he carries the ball 340 yards, which is 30 more yards than anybody else on average. So he has a huge advantage by hitting the ball that far. He's going to have a chance to be within 50 yards of some of these par 4s, which most guys usually have to hit 140, 150 because he can just carry over the hills. So I think his training regimen, and he's kind of geared to play this. He just won the U.S. Open. His putter's phenomenal. Where he struggles is in his wedge game, which could get him in trouble here because the greens are kind of key, and he has never played here before. So this is his first time playing here. But his driver might just win this tournament for him. Second guy I have at 9,000 is Bubba Watson. Really good course history here. He plays really well. He was tied for 12th last year, and he's coming off a 7th and a 4th place in his last 2 tournaments. He's really playing well lately. He's started to shift more to a mental focus, and he's in great form doing it. He's got tons of course history here. He's won, I think, 2 green jackets in his past. And it does play to a right to left swinger, and he hits that Bubba cut, they call it, right to left with a lefty driver. And so I really like him in that 9K area. Then I'm going to jump to just 2 cheap options. I kind of like Jason Kokrak. I think he's 7,100. He's a bomber. He just has good carry, and he's coming off a win 2 weeks ago. He's a cheaper guy to get in this type of tournament, and he must have scared Justin off. But he won at the CJ Cup, and he's in really good form coming in. He placed his last two tournaments 17th and a first. And then this is a bit of a dart throw at the deep range, but Francesco Molinari, he tied for fifth last year and he blew it on his final round. He was up by, I think, 4 going into like 15, and he hit the water, and then he hit the water again. And it was a mess at the end, but he's in probably the worst form he's been in. He hasn't played a lot this year, so this is kind of a dart throw. But down in that 6K range, there's not a lot of guys who have the experience at this course that Francesco Molinari has. So I kind of like going to him as just a reliable guy. He played pretty well in Houston last week too. So overall, like above the 10K range though, like if you look at this leaderboard last year for the Masters, it was insane. Like you had all the best guys in the top 12 pretty much. Rory was the one that kind of was in like the 20th range. He is looking for the career Grand Slam this week, which is a big storyline. So you could look to him. He's also a bomber. But do you have any questions about this course, Justin, or anything of note that you want to mention?
Well, first, let's be, I'm just going to address this for your thing. Will be editing it so no one can see me leave the screen there when you mentioned it. 2, I do have no idea even where they're golfing, so I have 0 questions about the course.
They golf the same course every year.
Well, look at that. I learned something new. I played golf DFS for the first time this spring when there was nothing else on. And I'm going through some of the names of the guys I picked that always made the cut for the ones I played anyways. And that was Tony Finau, if I'm saying that right. Hideki Matsuyama.
He added like an extra syllable I don't think he needed there, but it's close.
And then Jon Rahm.
Jon Rahm, I would really jump on this week. He's in probably the best form of anybody playing this tournament. He's the 3rd highest priced guy, probably the definitive best playing golfer right now. He's been in top 10 his last, I want to say 7 or 8 tournaments. His shots gained in every category are phenomenal, and his driver's dead straight. So like if you want to go with a guy above 10K, the highest owned guys they expect is going to be Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm. So that's the only risk.
The only person I'm a little bit disappointed that it didn't get the invite is Aphibarnrat. But that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, that's true. But no, this it will be a fun Masters. I love golf DFS because you get to sit through 4 rounds, and in this tournament there's so many guys that are going to make the cut that you probably won't be out of it until maybe late Saturday. You'll realize that you're just too far gone. But there's $1 million on the line again for this one. So,
well, that's our first golf DFS. I don't know how long I'll be around on them. I'll be producing them, but I don't know how long I'll be the actual talent on it. I have to get a guest in for these ones, unless I drastically pick it up here. But yeah, thanks for watching this. We're gonna be like we said in the past videos, we're gonna try to do football, hockey, golf, esports, and then maybe dabble in basketball and baseball, depending how slow the season is. But yeah, if you like it, give it a thumbs up and maybe a subscribe and maybe a comment. Let us know who you're picking, who's going to make the cut, who's going to win, who's your long shot, who's your Bernard
Langer.
Perfect. Let's go. Okay.